The Battlefield 5 Chapter 2 Lightning Strikes has finally dropped its update notes, and we're going to be taking a look in this video at what to expect when the game updates and you get to try out all the new stuff. This is the first update of 2019 and the first in a line of updates that I hope will fix many of the bugs in the game and make Battlefield 5 more playable and enjoyable for the majority of players. This will counter some of the negativity that the game has been receiving and, in all honesty, make the game fun to play again. Recently, I have been very frustrated with a lot of the things that are in the game, features that are missing, bugs, etc, etc. You know the story, and this, hopefully, will be something to push it in the right direction. Now, starting off, one of the major changes that is coming to the game is, of course, Squad Conquest. This is an intense version of Conquest that enables more tactical gameplay, or so DICE say, between two teams of 16 players each on Arras, Rotterdam and Hamada. I think this will be very good, especially for Hamada, which is a map that gets a lot of hate because of the Conquest Assault mode. Squad Conquest could give the map a completely different feel. Additionally, DICE are adding 4 new weapons which can be unlocked with the weekly challenges that will be made available during the Chapter 2 Lightning Strikes. DICE have also made several changes that are mainly bug fixes that we'll get onto in a bit, and there's much more coming within Chapter 2, including the return of Rush, a new grand operation, and, as DICE say, much more that will deliver new experiences in future updates as the chapter progresses. We also have the introduction of a new co-op mode called Combined Arms. This will be available from February. New company gear, weapons, vehicles, and the return of the rush mode, as I'll get into in a little bit. Now, it's really impressive to see this sort of stuff come in. The Combined Arms mode is going to be very exciting. I'll go into that in a bit more detail in another video, but interestingly, you'll also notice that in the trailer from Battlefield on their official YouTube channel, there are new vehicles that are fairly entertaining, and I believe you'll be able to drive a tractor around at some point during a game. The tractor, however, won't be coming in this next update. I think it's for the Trial by Fire update in March, which will be linked into the Battle Royale mode. Pretty exciting, though, nonetheless. A little more information on the new weapons before we get into the top issue fixes and changes. We're going to be seeing the ZK383, which is an SMG, the Model 1944, and the M1922, which is an MMG. Interesting weapons. I'm not too sure what to make of this. Maybe someone with a bit more knowledge on these weapons could let me know in the comments down below what you expect to see when these guns are introduced. Now, the main fix for me that's coming up at the top of the patch notes, and one that I'm so glad to see, is a time to death and death experience fix. Now, this is really important. This is when you die in one frame and you don't get any information from the game or the server that you're taking damage, and you drop dead, even if it's to, say, a Sten gun at long range, a weapon that will take 6 or 7 bullets to kill you at that range and a long time, but you're dropping in one frame. These are the top changes in regards to that. The name of the enemy that has killed a player is now shown in the game world when the player has died. This highlights the killer and helps players understand who killed them and from where. DICE have improved the death experience with the addition of a camera that now follows and zooms in towards the killer. There is improved accuracy of the visual representation of incoming bullets for other players. Tracers should now properly appear to consistently appear from the shooter, and should be clearer when the victim is looking directly at the shooter. DICE have also fixed an issue with the UI directional damage indicator that delayed the indication of the damage to the victim. This was when you got a damage indicator behind you when in fact you were getting shot from the front, things like that. And they finally made tweaks to the UI directional damage indicator to more accurately point towards the enemy damaging the player. That's again linked to what I just said. This is good. Will it fix it completely? I didn't see anything in there that linked into the network problems, but it's definitely making it a more user-friendly experience overall. Now for something that I am impressed with, it's to do with the soldiers, the animations, and things like the vaulting system. Let's start, in fact, with the vaulting system. They have improved the vaulting so that it no longer incorrectly triggers against steep hills and slopes. They've improved the vaulting direction when trying to vault through a window that's already broken. This is good because it was complained about on Reddit a lot. And they've also fixed an issue where players could receive full damage from vaulting over a wall and you'd die from just jumping over a wall, and that's been sorted apparently. In regards to the revive system, there's an issue that's been fixed where people would be picking up a weapon instead of reviving a player, and they've also improved the camera behaviour when a player revives a downed player very quickly, which is nice. Looking at some of the key animation fixes, Ragdoll behaviours have been sorted or at least improved, so these things where you're getting killed and you're hanging in midair or you're running around with no realistic animations or anything like that, that's hopefully been sorted. That's linked into explosions, which is good. Players will no longer get a strange arm pose when melee hitting an enemy 3 times in a row and then switching to the Fortification tool, which was quite a funny bug. And then they fixed an issue where the ammo self-resupply animation could get stuck and play indefinitely. When it comes to the vehicles, there have been a few key changes that I'll go over now. Half-tracks now take more and more consistent damage, making them easier to destroy. The Stuka can now resupply when flying through a resupply point in terms of its quick repair. That's a nice fix. The Stuka BK-37 cannons have been increased with their damage, which is good, but inaccurate fire will still suffer significantly reduced damage, meaning you've got to be more careful with the targets you shoot at, and you can't just spray and hope for the explosives to take care of it. And there's an increased ammo capacity on all airplane cannons from 150 to 200 rounds. There's also a change to the amount of damage you take when you are prone. Previously, players were resisting up to 25% of an explosion where prone, which was only intended in a few cases. This was fundamentally breaking the intended damage of tank shells, as players could absorb too much damage, which has changed a little bit, so maybe you'll find yourself killing a little bit more when you're in a tank and a player is prone. There are some other changes to the visual and audio aspects of the game, but I'll leave those in the description down below. You can check out the patch notes, basically related to resupply stations and some bugs that have been fixed. But one that I'm really happy about is the Stuka siren has been made a lot louder, which is exactly what I wanted to see. The Panzerfaust has been altered, so now it one-hits all types of airplanes, even when equipped with specializations that reduce damage from flak. This is fantastic and exactly what I wanted to see with this update. The Panzerfaust also no longer has a long delay before being able to fire after switching to the weapon, meaning you can quick switch and take down a plane that's strafing you instead of having to switch, waiting ages to get the Panzerfaust out and shoot. This is great, it increases the speed of gameplay in the game, and that's exactly what we need. There have been a selection of changes to the SMGs in the game. I'm going to get into this in another video. I'm impressed though that DICE have taken it upon themselves to sort out this balancing issue in this update instead of waiting and putting it off after that whole TTK debacle. It's really good to see this getting sorted, and hopefully it'll be in a better position for people who enjoy playing the medic. The SMGs were already good at close range, but I want to see a bit more balance, so the medic class is arguably the better class to take in the game. I still want it to be balanced with the other classes, but maybe it's time for people to get the medic class out there, start reviving, and increase the team play that we see in Battlefield 5. Finally, I just want to take a little look at the stability and PC improvements in the game. There are of course loads of other fixes, but I can't go into all of them. The patch notes are down below if you want to read through them. But in terms of the stability, DICE have made multiple crash fixes and general stability improvements, meaning that if your game crashed a lot and mine crashed a fair bit, maybe it won't be doing that as much. They don't go into much detail here, but I'm sure they'll have changed a couple of things that will enable you to get along with Battlefield 5 and make it a more user-friendly experience. In terms of PC-specific improvements, they have increased the density of the fields on a RAS when playing on lower settings. I know some people would turn their settings down or even have bugs on a RAS where the yellow rapeseed would not render in. That's like the yellow plant, and it would appear that it was bugging out, and you'd have an advantage because you could see people in the fields there. That's been changed, and hopefully it's a more level playing field for those playing with the normal settings. Thanks for watching the video. If you did enjoy, leave a like. Let me know what you think of the patch notes down in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.